I don't know what you guys at Marvel Studios are doing right now, but when it comes to Blade, I really hope you guys get your act together. Now, to anyone who knows me or has watched this channel from the beginning, you know that I'm a big fan of the movie Blade. I thought that film was excellent, especially what it would ultimately do for comic book films moving forward. And obviously, since Marvel Studios became a thing back in 2008, it's been a big question as to whether or not the character was going to return in this more expanded cinematic universe. And of course, we got that answer with the announcement of Mahershala Ali playing the character in 2019. And obviously it's been a slow process, but we eventually got a director, we got a screenwriter, and it looked like things were moving in the right direction. But now it seems that there has been a little bit of a hiccup in this plan as we see the departure of the film's director, Bassam Tariq, who has left the project, and we are now hearing a lot of different reports about things happening behind the scenes, although this is all still just rumors at the moment, but it ranges from a lot of rescheduling for the production to start, as well as a very short shooting script, which is allegedly about 90 pages with only 2 very small action set pieces. And we also hear that Mahershala Ali is not particularly happy with how things are going, and of course, how could he be, especially with the film due to start production in November of this year. Now, I'm sure for a few folks, Tariq was a interesting choice for the director for this film, especially with a very small filmography as it relates to narrative films. He's mostly known as a documentary filmmaker and made his narrative fiction film debut with Mogul Mowgli, starring Riz Ahmed back in 2020. Of course, you can probably see that film having been a little bit overshadowed by Ahmed's other release that year, The Sound of Metal, which gave him a lot of praise and award recognition, and Mogul Mowgli just kind of fell into the background when you really think about it, although I'm still very much looking forward to checking that film out for myself. Needless to say, we are now in search for a new director for this film, and we don't know if they're going to stick with that November start date for production or if they're going to delay the film. It definitely would make sense to do the latter and make sure that whoever steps in to the director's seat is going to be fully prepared and have as much time to get to know the script, get to know the actors involved, and really take this project on as their own. And of course, we've seen this happen with other Marvel Studios films. Obviously, we saw it happen with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We're seeing it now with the Fantastic Four film, which saw the departure of Spider-Man director John Watts. So it begs the question of who do we go with to replace Bassam Tariq as the director of Blade. Now, obviously, back in 2019, when the big announcement came of there being a new Blade film, I came up with a list of directors who I still think would be good to take on the reins of such a project, and please feel free to refer to that video at the link here. But also, there have been a lot of names getting thrown around since the news of Bassam Tariq's departure from Blade, and I definitely agree with some of these choices. Some of them I wholeheartedly do not agree with, because I know there are already people who have been saying, hey, what about Jordan Peele? And my response to that is, hey, why don't you stop being so basic? In the grand scheme of things, you've got a lot of different choices you could choose from. You've got Gina Prince Bythewood, who just came out with The Woman King, which was a phenomenal film in terms of the action and the story and the drama. Between that and her Netflix film, The Old Guard, I feel like those are 2 films that work really well to solidifying a case for her to take on a film like Blade and see what unique style she could bring to that character in that film. We also have Karen Kusama, who was originally slated to direct a Dracula film that was unceremoniously canceled just weeks before it was supposed to go into pre-production. So I think that would be a great redemptive opportunity for her to show what she could do on a film like Blade. But you also have a few other people that I'm thinking of. I feel like maybe someone like Oz Rodriguez, who did the Netflix film Vampires vs. the Bronx recently, which I thought was just a great, fun film, especially a film that paid a lot of homage to Blade. And even though Rodriguez comes from primarily comedic background, I feel like this would be a great opportunity to see what he could do with an action film the same way we trusted James Gunn with Guardians of the Galaxy or the Russo brothers with Captain America and the Avengers. I would even go as far as to look at some other sort of reliable veterans that may have never gotten a chance to be A-list directors, but someone like even Ernest Dickerson, who was originally considered to direct the Wesley Snipes film back in the 90s. I think that even as someone who has kind of fallen back from features and has worked primarily in television over the last few years, I think that he's still someone that has a great visual eye, a great sense of character and story, and I think that the same way we brought Raimi back after a decade of not having directed a feature film, it would be nice to see someone like Dickerson step into this role and see what he could bring to the table. All things considered, I'm still looking forward to this film. If you have to take the time to refocus and find whoever is going to be best suited to take on this material, I think it's definitely worth taking that time. I think you always kind of run into problems when you rush certain films. So I say if we have to wait maybe even another year for Blade to get off the ground, I'm all for it if everyone else on board who's still on board is, and that of course includes Mahershala Ali, because this was a man who brought this to Kevin Feige and said, I want to play this character. And I think as much as I've had my own thoughts or opinions on that casting and on whether or not they're going to be as bloody as I would expect a Blade film to be, I think that you definitely need to give this man a chance, and we'll just have to kind of wait and see. And it may take a while, or it may happen sooner than we think, that to see a new director step into the position and just keep the ball rolling into production. Hey guys, thanks for watching as always. If you've got your own thoughts or opinions on this latest news about MCU's Blade, go ahead and leave a comment in the section below. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the notification bell, share this video with your friends and family, and if you'd like to keep up to date on more at random videos, you can click the subscribe button right over here.